My project is on the banning and censorship of books. So first I'm going to go over a few events in history that led to a lot of banning and censorship of books. The first event I'll be talking about is the Second Red Scare, or the McCarthy era. This era lasted from about 1950 to 1956. It was a period when thousands of Americans were being accused of being communists or communist sympathizers. Many events led to this era, including development of an atomic bomb by the Soviets, the outbreak of the Korean War, in which US feared losing another Asian country to communism, but likely the biggest cause of this era was this man, Joseph McCarthy, hence the name the McCarthy era. He was running to be re-elected as senator and used the building fear of communism to help him. To gain popularity, he started claiming that there were communists working inside the government. He accused more and more people and ended up accusing army officials of being communists, which is where people drew the line, and the McCarthy era came to an end. However, a lot of damage was done during this era. Hundreds of people were imprisoned and some 10 or 12,000 people lost their jobs. The main targets were the more influential people in society, such as people from Hollywood, including actors and directors, also musicians, artists, and poets, and of course writers. Examples of banned books include classics such as Henry David Thoreau's Civil Disobedience, John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath, and the story of Robin Hood. In the end, over 30,000 books were banned during this era. Next are the Nazi book burnings. This took place in 1930s Nazi Germany. It was a campaign organized by the German Student Union where any books which contained ideologies opposing Nazism were burned. On May 10, 1933, the students burned over 25,000 volumes of quote-unquote un-German books in a demonstration of uncompromising state censorship. After, many recalled a prediction by poet Heinrich Heine, where he says, "Where one burns books, one will soon burn people." Next is the book censorship of the Soviet Union. This took place from 1920 to 1940 during Lenin and Stalin's time of power, both of whom had strict ideas of how books should be used in the Soviet Union. Libraries were used as tools for propaganda promoting communism and socialism. By 1927, about 60% of books were banned from libraries. Then from 1930 to 1932, libraries lost another 60% of their stock. In Moscow, about 800,000 books were lost, and most were never reprinted. In the end, almost all substantial books were banned, and Russians longed for the American library system, which offered free and universal service. Soviet writer A. Pokrovsky was labeled a criminal for saying that no books were good or bad and praising the American library system. However, after Stalin's death, book volumes slowly began to return to the shelves. Although all these events that I've mentioned have had negative effects, censorship also comes with its positives. For example, many books were inspired by these events that I've mentioned, including Ray Bradbury's classic Fahrenheit 451, which is inspired by all three events that I talked about. Also, banning books often increases popularity by a lot. For example, Salman Rushdie's controversial book Satanic Verses, which would have been much less popular if it had not caused so much controversy, had been banned from importing to India and burned in demonstrations in the United Kingdom. Satanic Verses then shot up in popularity and became an award-winning and best-selling book. And also, in the right amount, censorship can help prevent religious conflict and keep everyone happy.